Hey, how's it going? It's Tim Brown, and this is 10 keys to avoid SEO disaster during a website redesign. So, there's not that many times where SEO becomes so painfully obvious that people have to take notice. But unfortunately, one of those times is when they relaunch their website and then see their rankings on Google drop, and they're like, why is my traffic down 30% or something crazy like that? So I want to share a 10-point checklist. It's not that you have to do everything absolutely perfectly, but there are certain things that you have to do to make sure that you don't lose your rankings. So a couple things. One, in WordPress, there's this option for de-indexing the site for SEO. It should be switched off. So that's under settings. And there's other platforms that have this as well. Just basically a setting that de-indexes the site. And you'd be surprised, I have seen this several times now where this was checked and people were like, why did I lose my rankings? So that's the first one. Two, make sure all of the URLs from the old site either match the new site or have redirects set up. So this is basically the biggest one out of all of them. After that last one, of course, that one's, most of you will get that right. But redirects to every page, that's crucial. There has to be redirects. Super, super important one. So this is number 2, but it's probably the most important one. And then 3, ensure that Google Analytics and Google Search Console are installed and tracking, and make sure they're working as they should. Check that it's cataloging traffic, etc. Number 4, make sure that you have a sitemap.xml and a robots.txt file and that they are submitted and indexed through Google Search Console. We usually handle this through Yoast or similar. 5, ensure meta titles and descriptions have been migrated over to the new site or you've written new ones. People have done a lot of work on their meta titles and descriptions. We've A/B tested stuff. You've spent a lot of time on money on making sure that these are properly targeted. Don't drop them all on the new site and just have home your brand. You know what I mean? Like, don't just have the bare minimum when there's already been work done on those meta titles and descriptions. So make sure that those are migrated over. At least consider your 10 most important pages from like a sales perspective, and then look at the top 10, 20, 30 pages at least from a traffic perspective. So what are your pages that are getting the most traffic? Let's make sure that those meta titles and descriptions are targeted. So if you haven't written keyword-rich meta titles and descriptions, this would be a great time to do that and make sure that they're targeted at things that people are actually searching and that they would buy what you're selling. 6, key pages and service pages have 500 plus words on them. So we don't want thin and duplicate content all over the website. So from my perspective, 500 words is a good amount per service page at least. We actually suggest 700. Maybe Google might say at least 300. So there is some wiggle room. 7, make sure that your www version of the site redirects to the non-www or vice versa. We want them all in one spot. We don't want to have both out there indexed because that's confusing for Google. And then HTTPS is activated. The site is secure. 9, thin and duplicate content like categories and tags on WordPress are de-indexed if appropriate. And this is just a basic technical setup in Yoast or Rank Math if you're on WordPress. And other different content management systems have their own kind of quirks and problems and things to look at. You just want to make sure that there's not all these random pages getting indexed that are either like empty or there's no content on them, or they're like the same content as other pages on the site. So it is a big one. It's something to engage in SEO about usually. I mean, it's not necessarily flat out obvious in most of these content management systems. So usually that is where it kind of tags in somebody like us or something like that. But 10, any structured data is carried over from the old website, like FAQ schema, local schema, etc. So if you had a bunch of schema implemented on the old site, it'd be bad if you relaunched the site and all that's just kind of gone and there was work done on it. So make sure if there was schema that it's implemented on the new site. So I like to do rechecking of this work, especially the making sure that there's redirects. You can use a search parameter on Google by searching site, the word site, website.com, whatever your website is, site:website.com on Google, and clicking each result and just making sure that they're going to the right page is really not a bad idea to do that for like the first 50 to 100 results or the first 5 to 10 pages, at least just making sure all those, the most important pages at least, are all redirected. What you want is close to a one-to-one version of the site, and you want there to be a page redirected for every page that existed before, basically. So this is the biggest one, those redirects. If nothing else, remember that. These are just the basics, of course, to make sure you don't blow the site up. What else would you add to the list? All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.